trends.
Welcome to the First, the Last, the Nerdom, the podcast where we dissect all things geeky, pop culture, and beyond. Today we're diving into the brand new entry in the world of horror with the 2023 slasher film Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth and inspired by his own fake trailer from the Grindhouse double feature. Thanksgiving promises to deliver all the blood, gore, and twisted holiday cheer we could ever ask for, whether you're a diehard horror fan or just looking for the next film to get you in the holiday spirit, but in really, really messed up way. This episode has you covered. So grab your popcorn, watch out for the turkey carving knife, and let's dig into Thanksgiving, the movie, not the holiday. Trust us, it's a feast for your nightmares. Oh, and if you let the police handle it, we'll all end up 50% off. Uh-oh. Looks like John Carver's here. Oh, no.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Hey.
I forgot to, I didn't tell you about that before the show, so I figured I'd spring it on you for the apropos.
Yeah. As friends do. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll let you take the where you want to go from here, my friend.
Oh yes. Well, I'm Tom, and with me is Mike. As always, we're your geek tour guides as we take you through all things geeky and strange and sci-fi and fantasy and all that good stuff. We've been around for a little while. We'll have an upcoming episode where we're celebrating our 3rd anniversary, so check out that when you can. But yeah, we'll take a look at just a little bit about us as far as our socials. We've got this YouTube channel which you're watching currently, so surprise, and we've got all sorts of videos on our site. We talk about all things, like I said, geeky. We we do a podcast each week, usually about a movie, but we've talked about VHSs and collecting and all sorts of little things. But yeah, we mainly concentrate on sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. So there's a little bit for everybody. So dig around there and take a look. Also, I handle some of our socials. I get out there on Reddit to promote our stuff on subreddits that will have me. And also, I've got a Twitter account that I promote us on McAllister_T. So if you're wondering what's upcoming as far as our videos, you can take a look at that. And then I think, Mike, you have some of your socials.
I do. I have myself here on X, ApeIt.Ink. That is also my publication of record, where I like to tackle politics, current events, heavier side of life, sometimes entertainment picks that I find as I go through this thing. I like to share the cool things I find on YouTube there. But I'll also mention, if you want to find me and Tom, we would love to have a conversation with you either on X or even better yet on our film. I did want to call attention to a comment that we had, and we hadn't had too many of these, but I wanted to do a shout out to MCIV 1104. So thanks for leaving a comment. We love it. We love that engagement. And tell us what you really you loved about this Vendetta, V for Vendetta flick that we did the other day. Anyway, I just wanted to call attention to that and say thank you so much for watching what we do. We love doing it, and if you could like, comment, even better yet, subscribe, or find us on these will all be down in the show notes on X or whatever. We would greatly love it. But I think I will leave you to the bona fides here.
Yeah. Oh, and I was going to mention that comment lever on V for Vendetta. Looks like they're a huge V for Vendetta fan. So judging by their handle, and also I checked out their video page. They have several videos. It looks like they go over V for Vendetta. So I appreciate that they got something out of our video. Some of that so immersed in the world was able to find some stuff that was entertaining for them in our video. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I did some cyber stalking too, and I followed up. And please go subscribe also to MC4 and see what you see. And I don't know, I apologize, but I am not I'm not quick. And shame on me, I took a year or two of Latin, so I should know that. But anyway, go check out their thing and what they're putting out. So we'd greatly appreciate it if you would do that. But in any case, I'll go back to our thing. Yeah, so we love the fans, and we are nerds, and we love. God knows, you know that I love Dune, which we'll get into a teaser episode here. We might get into later on tonight. But first things first. I just want to say thanks for being for introducing me to horror, Tom, and one of the horror gems I think that we continue to find. I think you're going to get us back into it. Anything else before I pass it back off to you?
No, yeah, but so Thanksgiving is a horror movie, came out last year. Came out in the theaters, and then our talk about cyber stalking. We cyber stalk Red Letter Media, and they did a whole episode on this, talking about how great it was. So it put it on my radar. So basically, it's it's in the long line of tradition of holiday horror movies. Kicked off, made popular by Halloween. Although we talked about the first one, Black Christmas, last year. That one was the first holiday horror movie, and but Halloween kind of got everybody jazzed for it, and kind of triggered all the holiday kind of horror movies that came after it. And oddly enough, Thanksgiving's never had a holiday horror movie, none to my knowledge. So this is the first, whereas Christmas has gotten like tons and tons. So finally, Thanksgiving's got some love. It sprang from Eli Roth's. They were doing Grindhouse, which was done by double feature by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, and they both did a movie there, and they had some fake trailers, one by Edgar Wright and another one by Eli Roth, which he did a fake Thanksgiving trailer. Never intended it for it to be a movie, but everybody kept saying through the years, that would make a cool movie. That would make a cool movie. So Eli, after probably a few different failures at the box office, said, yeah, let's dig that out and do that movie. Eli Roth's kind of an interesting guy. He's been in Hollywood forever. He was an assistant to David Lynch, and actually introduced Lynch's current wife, who I think was one of Eli Roth's friends. And he also is friends with Quentin, obviously with him doing the trailer, but he's also one of the actors in Inglourious Basterds. So he's got some nice ties into Hollywood.
Triple threat.
But yeah, exactly. So I've been kind of, ever since the Red Letter Media one kind of went over it, I've been kind of itching to see it. And then I told Mike, this would be a perfect time because Thanksgiving's coming up. Let's watch it. It's on Netflix. So give some Netflix some love. Although whenever we cover a Netflix movie, it doesn't always do it quite as well as our Tubi ones.
Well, I have a feeling that it won't do as quite as bad as the Tyson Paul fight. So I think I'll take our chances. Of course, we won't buffer on you and as that blurry mess goes, but. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of shout out. I had a lot of fun with this, and I think that's what there's an innate fun to this. And I won't trouble too much on you, but I really like this one. I actually liked it more than I thought I would. So that kind of goes to the fun that I've learned that you can have with these films that are horror, but also kind of fun and genre busting, I guess, is what I kind of think of when I think of Quentin Tarantino. This has aspects of that. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It kind of reminded me of Scream. Not Scream had a more of a kind of wink and nod to the camera, whereas this kind of it's pretty more straight. Yeah, it's sort of a straight horror movie, but it kind of has that kind of fun vibe to it. It's like okay, it's talking to the audience in a way that it's like, okay, you're into horror movies, I'm into horror movies, you're into horror movies, let's have some fun. It's like, so it quickly kind of gets in, and it's got like a lot of throwbacks to 80s horror, like with the very beginning of it. There's sort of that perspective of going up to a house, much like Halloween. Trick or Treat kind of had that in its beginning moments as well, that we reviewed a couple of weeks back. But so it had that kind of first person perspective that Halloween plays with at the beginning of the movie, and it's sort of a fake out because it's actually the police officer. So that's coming up, and coming up for just Thanksgiving. So it's not like a killer or anything. Or is it? but it's kind of it plays with the audience expectations for horror movies and kind of plays into it, and often kind of you expect a certain level for a horror movie, and then sometimes it'll go a little bit above that. It's sort of like, oh well, you expected me to do this, but I'm going to top you by doing this. So there's a lot of playing with the audience, so to speak, with this.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of in and out, and this was a great. Well, at first I kind of didn't know what to think, which is usually a good omen that I'm probably going to enjoy this a lot. And like you were saying, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It gets to the point pretty quick. You're not spending too much time, and this is to what you were saying before. Is a few other films this brings to mind over the last 6 films we've done. More often than not, it doesn't spend too much time getting there. You're quickly wrapped up in the story, and the story loosely is set in, and I'll let you flesh out the details. But there's obviously an overture here of Thanksgiving. That's the instead of Christmas, like you were mentioning before at the top of the show. We're set in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of Thanksgiving, and then it kind of goes from there.
Yep.
And it very quickly jumps from here to there, and you're kind of I like this. I bring this up all the time. Rules, so to speak, for horror films. There kind of are a few here a little bit. There's a very quick, fast-paced balance point of justice, I guess. I don't know. That's not really justice, but it kind of sets itself up. I'll let you go from there if you want.
Yeah. The movie. One of my suggestions is if you don't know anything about it, go ahead and watch it because there's quite a bit of surprises in there. But yeah, I kind of I'd heard a little bit about it, but when I started watching it, I'd forgot all about that, and so just watching it fresh, it was a lot of fun. So pause our video, watch the movie, come back, and enjoy the conversation. But basically, the story is everybody's having Thanksgiving, and what do you do at midnight or the day after Thanksgiving? You go to Black Friday sales. So this is sort of kind of playing with all the traditions of Thanksgiving, which are not a whole lot, but you have the Black Friday, and you also have the Thanksgiving parade, which comes in later on. But yeah, so there's the Black Friday sales. One of the people we're introduced to at the beginning of the movie has to work, and there's a family that owns the sort of Walmart knockoff store that's or I guess it's more like Best Buy, I guess. that the guy's working at,
Right.
and things go wrong. There's some bad actors in the Black Friday that inspires a riot,
Right.
and a riot happens, and a few people get killed, and so basically it takes. That's sort of the introduction to the movie, and then it goes flash forwards to a year later, and there's a killer stalking some of the bad actors during the Black
Right.
Friday sale.
Could we go back
Mhm.
to the start for just a
Uh-huh.
moment? Because
Sure.
you mentioned John Carpenter and Halloween,
Uh-huh.
and that slasher vibe, right? But
Uh-huh.
also, like, what also reminded me of this was the the thing that went wrong. It kind of reminded me
Mhm.
a little bit of Dawn of the Dead, both the
Mhm.
original and also the newer remake that I really love.
Mhm.
I think we covered that one, but I just wanted to say that it had that vibe with it, which is why I think I liked it.
Sure.
Kind of going back. Anyway, sorry.
No problem. But yeah, the killer takes on. There's a mask being handed out to everybody a year later of John Carver, which is their sort of mascot for the celebration for Thanksgiving. They're like you were saying, Plymouth. And John Carver, of course, was one of the pilgrims who made the Mayflower voyage in 1620, which resulted in the creation of Plymouth colony in America. He's credited for writing the Mayflower Compact.
Yep.
It was its first signer and was also the first governor of Plymouth colony, which I think they mention in the movie. So yeah, it's kind of crazy that they use him as the yeah, the image for the killer, but it works quite well. And actually, I was having it's weird that we watched this movie like a week after V for Vendetta, because he's sort of the pilgrim look, echoes what Guy Fawkes looked like in
No, we had
V for
synergy
Vendetta.
going on. No, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, that's so funny that we landed there. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And so yeah, just to back up a little bit more, that Black Friday massacre craziness, that was insane. One of the things about the movie is it's not shy about the violence, and it's so quick and fast that a lot of it is that it's not like Eli Roth. One of the things I was kind of thinking while watching this, is he's sort of like the anti M. Night Shyamalan. They have a lot of similarities in that they've. I said this about M. Night, and I think it's maybe true about Eli Roth, is that you could have in your top 10 list, you could have one of Eli Roth's movies in your top 10 list, and also have Eli Roth in your top 10 worst horror movies of all time. He's sort of like that guy that has like his credits kind of go all over the place. Like recently just came out with Borderlands, which was famously kind of trash, but he's also, done some great movies. Well, maybe not great, but like Hostel's like a pretty solid horror movie that kind of introduced everybody to the torture horror genre that kind of was famous for a little while. And he also did Cabin Fever. I love the first Hostel. I saw it in the theater, and he has my devoted love, because he had Takashi Miike in a kind of a cameo role in the Hostel, and I almost wanted to jump out at my seat and start clapping, but I would have looked like a crazy person. But yeah,
you're not the only fan of his that I've heard.
Yeah.
Like people that really like Cabin Fever and they like Hostel, like that is, the only thing you're missing is the beach, like from the vibe, I would say.
Yeah, but yeah, he's very he's one of those directors that he's very knowledgeable, and and he knows horror, so it's not a surprise that this movie really plays to his strengths. And one of the smart things he does in this movie, since it's a fun sort of horror movie, is that he doesn't linger on the kills. They're kind of in and out. They're kind of over the top, but they don't linger to the point where you're really grossed out. It's sort of like in and out. Although there may be a kill or two where he kind of lingers, but that's for effect.
No, I agree. Like I said, you don't you're not spending too much time here on the layer. Like some films invite you in, take your time, what you think, what you feel, kind of seeing this thing happen as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that.
Your audio, it may be just my audio, but I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, I was waiting. Oh, sorry. Yeah, now you can hear me anyway. But my recorded voice was fine. But sorry, I was waiting for the beeping to stop on the thing. Anyway, don't do laundry in your own abode, right? During podcast time. Anyway, no, I really I liked it. It had, like you were saying, and I think we traded off before here. It was in and out. You're not spending too much time. I liked how it gave kind of a hat tip to the slasher vibe, and the violence is it is meant to offend, but it's kind of like it's like a good horror film uses its violence as its own kind of character or give and take, I guess. I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and also I think one of the things he could have done a little bit more was kind of develop the characters a little bit more. Like maybe not all of them, because basically when you're having fun, when you're having fun killing off these people, you don't want to have the baggage of being attached to them. So I can see why maybe some of the people that get knocked off aren't developed all that well. But all of them that get killed are assholes to some degree or another. So it's like when they get killed, it's like you're not weeping any tears, but especially like the main character, the girl, I forget her name in it. She could have been developed a little bit more. I really didn't get a sense of who she was. She's kind of has two boyfriends that are bouncing. She's kind of bouncing one from the other, and then those are actually maybe developed a little bit more, but they could have been developed a little bit more as well. I think again, I think it was by design in that he didn't want you to get too attached to these people. But yeah, I think it could have been played a little bit better if we knew a little bit more about these characters.
Yeah, I guess I kind of saw a little bit more structure in the killings, I guess, in the creative way. Like every person that was like taken out, I guess, had some kind of, and it was very quickly associated to that person, to like why they're culpable, to why they owe a pound of flesh, so to speak, to this John Carver, who's the main killer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was kind of the point I was missing, I guess, was the creativity of how people meet their end, which is kind of another whole spectacle unto itself for horror films. Like when you're kind of in the zany, I guess, kind of not taking itself seriously vibe, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and did you have a favorite kill? I was kind of curious.
There was two Heat ones. There was the one like where you viscerally saw the skins, kind of thing happen. And then, but then you also saw like somebody like being roasted alive, like that. That
was pretty intense.
I think that probably stuck with me probably more than anything else, like because I can just imagine.
I think, the one that stuck with me. Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
No, the one that stuck with me was one very early on when the lady in the diner who runs the diner. He hits her with a car, and when she's next to a dumpster and like the lid hops down and cuts her in half. Yeah,
Yeah.
that for one thing, it's an amazing effect. But yeah, that was so surprising, and yeah, that got me. It was. Yeah, it was just
I did
short
not see that
and
coming
quick, and yeah, and then it was like wow. And then he used the body to big effect for the 50% off sale, which again had some nice laugh to it. But yeah, it's like wow.
Well,
yeah. So
no, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, yeah, you could see that he knows horror, he knows what works, what doesn't work, and he plays it up in this movie. It's like, yeah, he's doing what he knows.
Yeah, well, and you don't spend too much time on feeling sorry for any of the characters, like you pointed out, like the asshole characters that I found structure in of not necessarily kill order, but like who are these people and why are they on this list? Let's put it that way. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and like with a lot of slasher movies and giallos, there's a mystery of who the killer really is, and it's they did a pretty decent job of misdirection and playing around with who it actually is. It was engaging, and even though I wasn't actively trying to figure it out, so maybe I didn't figure it out as quickly as other people would have. But the person it turned out to be, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking that's probably who it's going to be. but yeah, they did do quite a decent job of misdirection and playing with the audience as to who it really was.
Right.
But yeah, almost all slashers have that, and it did remind me a little bit of giallos, just with the event of kills.
That's what I was gonna say. It had a tingling of that in the background that I kind of and when you said that, I was thinking about that a little bit earlier when we were talking, as to like how. I can't think of the name. It was like one of the more recent giallos that we did, one of the more classic ones. Anyway, it didn't matter. But this had that feeling of it too, which actually makes me want to go back and like watch some giallos now. I'm sure we'll accommodate that because you wouldn't say no to a giallo, would you, Tom?
Of course not.
But
never.
So look for that in the future. But yeah, no. This was. This also had a sense of satisfaction with it for the amount of equal parts horror and absurdity and murder mystery, whatever, and like whodunit kind of flavor, which is where we land today with the Mr. Carver.
Yeah, and the killer has a kind of a soft side to them as well, because one of the kills, the guy has a cat, and there's like a funny moment where the killer pauses to feed the cat before he leaves. So that's kind of an interesting, kind of fun little detail that he threw in there. But one of the things I liked about it was that it did have a sense of kind of a throwback to the 80s horror. Back then, obviously, I thought when this movie started that the young people in it were college students because they looked like they're in their 20s. But it comes to find out they're teenagers, or high school kids in this.
Like Saved by the Bell High School, kind of.
Got a vibe, yeah. So yeah. Hello, kids. But yeah, it sort of had the 80s vibe because they would hire people in their 20s to play high school students as well. Just to get out of the to avoid the whole them being actually teenagers and all the complications of filming with teenagers are that are still in high school. So yeah, it sort of had the 80s vibe to it, but it also had fun with social media and technology and how cell phones, because the cell phones is kind of a kind of pesky thing in the horror movies because, if you're being stalked by a killer in an 80s horror movie, you didn't have a phone handy to call, but in today's day and age, you kind of have to factor that into horror movies. And they had some fun with it, like with the first kill, with he kind of burned off her fingertips, and kind of slashed her face, so her phone wouldn't recognize her her fingers, and face recognition on the phone, which is kind of fun.
I kind of took that as a comment on a very minor license I'll take here is kind of a comment on technology. Kind of a little mini maybe exclamation point on how the director feels about technology a little bit. But yeah, well, some films weave in social media and cell phones. Well, this one did all right. It served the purpose. Again, it's kind of like Shyamalan, you know, like we just reviewed that maybe a month ago or so. But you don't spend too much time on it. That's okay. You forgive it. You move on. You're going on to the next thing because you're pulled in. There's enough pull for the characters and enough development for you to care a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Whether it's for the killer or, you know, the victim, the next one, or, you know, maybe what motivates him a little bit. I don't know. It kind of just depends. But again, you're not meant to read too deep into this world.
Right, you're right. There's a lot of sort of plausibility to the movie that, if you think about it a little bit, it doesn't stack up. So it's one of those horror movies where you have to suspend your disbelief for some of it, and that applies to
for a killer. Like, I mean, for that's kind of the whole point of the thing of the motivation of it, madness, I guess, for lack of not clever madness, just brute madness, I would say.
Right. And so yeah, that kind of applies with the social media. It's sort of like you know, at one point he's broadcasting his the kills that he's going to do, and like I think it looked like it was supposed to be like YouTube, which you know, it would get shut down within the first minute or two, but yeah, that would have been more likely been broadcasted on the dark web or something. But yeah, like I said, he does a decent job. You know, a lot of times when you put technology and social media into a movie, it's sort of like done like a boomer trying to understand social media, and kind of does it kind of ham-fisted and with no understanding of how things work.
Right.
or you know, so it's sort of like like you said, the hello fellow kids kind of vibe to it.
Well, or Hollywood trying to ape something that it can't quite carry off. It's one thing. What do they say? The best imitation is or the best sincere form of flattery is imitation, or whatever. Or artists will somebody will steal, but an artist will, you know, create whatever. Anyway, the point being, you have to take your time with these things for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, and a lot of times the ending of a horror movie, a lot of the horror movie kind of depends on its ending, and I think the ending of it was pretty solid. We won't go into deep detail, but you know, there's sort of like a kind of a stinger ending to it, much like Harry, or the movie that kind of got me thinking about with the ending was Nightmare on Elm Street. It sort of had that kind of ending to it.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, no, I will say this about the third act. So oftentimes we'll get to this point where, you know, you have a 3-act movie, and you get to the third act and it's horror or whatever, or some kind of hybrid of horror, and it doesn't quite make sense or doesn't stick the landing, and there's spectrum here, right? So there are ones that will land it okay, and it doesn't ruin the movie, but it could have been better, you know. This one, I don't think that you could have got a better ending for what you got. I think that 1, 2, and 3, maybe 2 was a little bit weak, but you're watching somebody kill somebody else, so I mean, I was very happy with how this landed, and I will say that. So this, I'm an Eli Roth fan just from this film, and I don't really have the background like you do, I don't think I've actually seen. I don't think I've actually watched Cabin Fever all the way through, unless we reviewed it. I don't think we have.
No, we haven't.
Because that would have opened up a whole other genre of horror that I am somewhat familiar with like building or something is haunted, like 13th Floor or whatever the hell that was. But anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm getting long-winded. Bring me in, Tom.
All right. Well, yeah. I kind of jumped to the ending, but to kind of backtrack a little bit, they do introduce Thanksgiving favorites like the Black Friday, but another thing that they spotlighted was the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was a big deal for this community, and they play it up. Although in real life, I'm sure they would have, if all these killings were going on all over the place, they would have canceled the Thanksgiving Parade. But in this kind of world, it did take place, and much to our enjoyment. That parade was something else. If something happens to Mr. Turkey Man, that's quite shocking. But yeah, and absolutely, yeah, there will be no leftovers. But that's kind of a fun tagline. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of big names in this movie, a lot of unknowns, but one of the big ones was Gina Gershon, who he used later on in Borderlands. But McDreamy himself, Patrick Dempsey's in this, which I don't know why they call him McDreamy. Yeah,
well, I can see why they call him McDreamy. Yeah. I would peg that face to be on a soap opera if that were still a thing. Daytime soap opera hunk, or what do they call those? Soap hunks or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But there was some kind of '90s verbiage around that.
Yeah, he was in ER, which I think he got his that big nickname from that.
Okay, I can see that.
All the all the women were hot and heavy on him. Oh, Grey's Anatomy. That's what he was on.
He was in Ferrari too. I remember that. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Very talented actor, nonetheless. Yeah.
Absolutely, a long, big career for him. Which is still ongoing. We're not memorializing him by any means. But yeah, it's he did a pretty decent job in this movie. He didn't have a whole lot to work with as far as because he's the cop trying to track down the killer. There's some interesting turns for him in this. All the actors were serviceable. There wasn't anyone that kind of stood out and I was like, oh wow, look at this guy or girl. Right. but yeah, everybody did a pretty decent job in this movie. Nobody was horrible in this, although the Russian family, I don't know if the Russian accents were quite on the spot.
Well, you go in with what you have, and I think I think if anything, little faults like that you find more endearing than you find a mistake. And I don't know why that is, but this film has equal parts. It's just outrageously gore as it is, like drawing you in to care about what you're watching. Like, I really didn't think about the concept of marrying horror and Thanksgiving, because Christmas has been done. Halloween has been Halloween has a whole franchise around it, like for a couple different things. But Thanksgiving, this one, well, I liked it from what it brought, and how close we are to Thanksgiving. So it was in a weird way eccentric, refreshing. I'll say that. It was a fun ride.
Yeah, and will this become a Thanksgiving classic? Will after you have stuffed yourself with turkey, will you gather the family around to watch a really violent horror movie? No, all right.
No,
Maybe.
but it is a movie though. If you have like-minded friends, even Friendsgiving, like it is something. Maybe not every year, right?
Mhm.
But as a special thing, like absolutely. I think it fits in because it has enough kitschiness for you to kind of know what's going on. You know, it's not, you know, it's not gonna it's not like X-Files, like where you're watching it in the middle of the night, you know, and all the lights off in the house and you hear a bumper creak or something, you know, like not quite like that.
Right. Yeah. It's the one that it's more fun. Like you said, get a group of friends together and kind of laugh over it. Maybe if you're more horror centric fans, maybe throw this on after Thanksgiving, maybe the day or two after Thanksgiving, and while you're decorating your tree and kind of watching the movie, maybe do that. But yeah, yeah. Did you actually see see it in Grindhouse, the original trailer? What were your thoughts on the original trailer? The fake trailer.
Was that is that a hint here?
Maybe.
Yeah, no. Well, let me turn the sound off here. So we're gonna selectively. I love this. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of.
I love this. I have to. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we're good there.
But yeah, it's a lot of the gags, killing gags from the you don't want to go that far, but yeah, it's, that happened in the movie are actually in this trailer. It's kind of fun, but yeah, it's kind of done as like a 80s horror movie, and yeah, it's kind of has all the trappings of a 80s horror, but yeah, obviously
it is down in the cut, as the kids say, for it's funny. I find this very funny, very entertaining for sure.
Definitely. And do you think John Carver has legs as a icon horror person? Because yeah, you have your Sam from Trick or Treat, you have Michael Myers, you have Freddy Krueger. Is John Carver going to be in that higher echelon of horror icons?
I think so. I think that 2024, what 2024, right? We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, I think that all the way up to 2030. Yeah, I think this is going to be. I think we're going to probably at least see at least 5 films from this. Yep. and you know what? Maybe this will be a staple of our show, our channel. We would love to grab it, and we will now. But because I did see a little forward there in the future that the second version of this is being worked on. So
yeah, Eli Roth's working on a sequel. Yeah, definitely.
And all shenanigans joking aside, I would absolutely show up for this. It would actually be kind of more fun to see it in theater if they do that. So. I don't know about you, Tom, but I'm there in the future. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, this actually did go out in the theaters in 2023. So yeah, it was one of those we kind of missed. Well, in with Eli Roth, like I said, he's sort of hit or miss. So I wasn't sure if this would be a hit or not. And I'm glad that it did stick the landing. And sticking the landing, I did enjoy a lot of the music in the movie. They threw in a Van Halen, or not Van Halen, but Sammy Hagar song about midway through, giving us the 80s vibe. But it ends with my favorite Samhain song. Shout out to Glenn Danzig, "Where Eagles Dare." That's an awesome song. Really kicks it up into high gear and leaves you feeling great. And the end credits were really fun. It felt like kind of a throwback to the Grindhouse, kind of a nod to the beginnings of this movie, where it started from. It had that kind of Grindhouse sort of feel to them. Yeah. I
agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And there's sort of much like Marvel, there's sort of like a little maybe an outtake scene at the very end. It's not like a kind of preview to future movies, but sort of like a little fun outtake at the very end of the movie. So kind of stick through the credits. The credits are fun to watch, but yeah, there's a little additional scene at the very end.
Yeah, well, that's kind of apropos for this movie. Every time you get to a corner like where you think you know where you're gonna go. Anyway,
I think so.
I have the windows open, so I'm looking out more than I normally would.
You think John Carver's kind of creeping in?
Maybe.
Yep. Maybe. But yeah.
No, no. This has, like, when you think you got this figured out, you don't. In a good way. I will return to this probably in a few weeks and watch it post Thanksgiving, like you suggested. But whether you watch it before, during, or after this time of year, it's perfect. Perfect if you just want something that's not overly whatever. You just want something to throw in the background and put up the tree or whatever you say. Like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm gonna do, Tom. So you read my mind. So no, I loved it. I love it. That's a big strong recommend for me, who is a non regular horror fan. I really liked it for what it is. I really liked it.
Yeah, a very, very solid slasher movie. You can have a deep, kind of a deep thinking slasher movie, but most slasher movies are just in and out, have fun, and that's definitely what this movie is. It's you're not going to be thinking about the questions of the universe after watching this movie, but I think you'll have a satisfying good time watching it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and even if you're the most hardened, jaded slasher movie fan that has seen them all, there's something in there for you. This definitely has a few surprises in there for you. And Mike, John Carver himself, ML Carver.
Well, that was a little throwback, but no, I really liked it. I don't. I'll hand it off to you, my friend. But I'm glad you. I wasn't sure what to think. Thanksgiving is up there. I kind of get a little, because there's like 3 films in life for this Thanksgiving to Christmas. There's like a few films that but it's fun to shake it up with horror and have fun. And that's what I got most of all. I loved how they landed the third act, and I loved the fun throughout the film. That's what I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this year I kind of wanted to do kind of themed, since we a lot of times we do like a all horror October, which we didn't quite do, but this year, but we kind of hit the spot with Trick or Treat, very Halloween themed horror movie, and then we got a Thanksgiving themed horror movie. And then we're having a horror themed Christmas movie as well. So look forward to that as well. But yeah, I wanted to end out this year with a trilogy of horror holiday cheer, as they say. So yeah, look forward to that, and in the comments, let us know what your favorite holiday slasher movie is. If you've gotten this far, and then give us a like or subscribe, and or both, and click that bell for notifications. Let's let you know when we post a video, and we've dropped off a little bit on subscribers, so if you don't mind giving us a subscribe and boosting our egos back up a little bit, that'd be great. Like I said, we've got several different great videos. If you're into fantasy, we've got a discussion on Dragon Slayer, which was a kind of a surprise for us that we really enjoyed. But yeah, and then we've got our socials. I'm on Reddit and posting our stuff there, and then I'm also on X under McAllister_T. You can keep up with what we post, and Mike, you'll end us with a little bit of your socials.
Absolutely. I also am on X, so if you want to hit me or Tom up, that'd be great. ApeIt_Ink. That's me, ML, and I'm also do my own little thing on the long form publication. I also do a thing on my personal YouTube page for the longer form things if I feel compelled. But all along the line, we would love it. Like Tom said, if you could subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll be seeing you.
Oh, and just a little FYI, we're getting ready to film another video on our anniversary, and also we're gonna double it up with a little talk of Dune Prophecy, the new show. So if you're also into sci-fi like we are, you might want to check that out. And
no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yes, and I think we'll do a little quick video on since it's holiday season's coming up, and I'm the physical media guy. I think we're gonna do a quick rundown of what's coming out on physical media as well.
Stocking stuffer. That's what we'll do for sure.
I got the thumbs up. So yeah, check that out. And like I said, let us know what you're thinking in the comments, and we'll talk to you later. And don't let John Carver take 50% off of you.
Dumpster fire.